Ready or not. Was that too dramatic? I wanted a more serious intro this time. So, why are we here today? Well, Void Interactive is looking for a new level designer for their game Ready or Not. The game is a team-based tactical first-person shooter with an emphasis on realism. Along with my application for this job, I will also challenge myself to create a level for Ready or Not. This will hopefully show the team at Void Interactive my process, and also be a lot of fun. So, the first thing I'm going to be doing is laying out the list of objectives and levels in the game. This way I can get a broad sense about the existing levels in the game. I played through the missions that I could, and for the rest I used the wiki to gather information on all the missions in the game. This is a very brief piece of research into the game, mostly due to time constraints, which means I won't be able to create a game design document with the depth I would like to. Now I've got a basic idea of things, I can get on to actually designing the level. First and foremost, I need to design a mission for the player. I can start to brainstorm where my level would fit into the current existing missions that are already in the game. I've actually found this quite challenging, because I tend to be a quite light-hearted designer. I take design seriously, but most of my ideas I was coming up with didn't quite fit the tone of the game. Ready or Not is a very serious game with a lot of missions and levels based off of real-world events. Goofy and light-hearted missions where the bad guy is a cartoonish James Bond villain would not fit the theme and the ideas of the game. Ready or Not is a far more realistic and grounded experience. I liked the idea of there being a bit more story in the level rather than it just being the bad guys are down there and go get them. I thought the idea of a sewer environment could add a different kind of flavour to what already existed, combining it with the story that they're going to find a small drug ring and soon discover it's a larger operation than what was initially thought. This will be connected through the level design in that the environments will start very claustrophobic and small and then explode into large cleared out areas that will emphasise the scale of this operation. The actual objectives for the player will be to arrest the operator of the cocaine lab, arrest or neutralise any contact at the scene, and detain any unarmed contacts at the scene. Now onto gathering some reference images. I used PureRef to gather some reference images of the kind of environments I was hoping to design, really trying to think about the claustrophobic and small environments for the sewer. I also collected reference images for meth and cocaine labs. After looking at both environments, I'm more leaning towards the cocaine lab, as a lot of references I found had interesting shapes that could be used as cover for the player. The meth lab also had this, but I felt like some of the crates and barrels in the cocaine labs section would be more intuitive as cover to the player. Instead of going straight into 2D designs, I'm going to start by creating a flowchart to give me a sense of the kind of spaces I want to design and the flow of the mission. I find when designing levels it's best to start with simple ideas and build up from there, rather than jumping straight into the complicated stuff. Starting out nice and simple, just working out the rough flow of the level. I can then add some more layers of complexity, thinking about the alternate routes players could take. The main combat areas will have a minimum of 2 access points to allow the player choice and replayability. Now I can move on to the 2D designs. This is the first 2D design I created. I tend to do it quite rough initially, just to get some ideas down so I can then start playing around with the environment. I then smarten things up a little. Ideally, I'd like to do a few more designs for this level. That way I could brainstorm a lot of more ideas and then make an amalgamation of all of them together. A classic saying is if you want to make something good, make it again, and again, and again, until it's good. But I'm challenging myself to complete this in under a week, so this will have to do for now. When it comes to the Whitebox, I did manage to find the unofficial SDK level editor, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to learn the nooks and crannies of an SDK in under a week, so I opted to use a pre-made first-person shooter project that I've used in the past, as I'm already comfortable with using it, and I'm going to take you on a quick walkthrough of the level now. So the player will stand outside at the entrance of the sewer. From here there are 2 possible routes into the sewer. The first route will take you through the tight tunnels and lead the player to the first major combat area. The second route will be found through the door outside. The player will need to kill an enemy, but will be given a vantage point when they come into the major combat area. The player can then work their way through the sewer, taking out any enemies they come across. At this point, the player once again has 2 options for entering the lab: the main entrance and a hidden tunnel that leads into the storage room, which then leads into the main hall. Once the player has surveyed the lab, they will then be able to head up to the office. There are once again 2 entrances. The player can climb the stairs and enter through the front door, or go up through another tunnel and enter the office from the back. Once there, the player can arrest the operator of the cocaine lab. At this point, the player should have achieved all their objectives and have completed the mission. I completed this project over a 4-day period, so things are understandably a little rough around the edges. My future plans would definitely be to reduce the scale of some of the environments, but also increase the optional routes. Additionally, the level needs some TLC when it comes to a sense of place and environmental storytelling. Due to time constraints, I just kept most of the corridors quite blocky. but on a second pass, I would love to make them a lot more compact and make it really feel like you're in a sewer. Wow, this was quite a fast-paced project, but thanks for watching my little overview of this design challenge. This has been a completely passion-filled project for my application for Void Interactive to work on the game Ready or Not. And I thought it would probably be a cool idea to make into a video for my channel as well. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Thanks for watching.